Hey everybody, I just wanted to show you something here real quick. We're going to be flying the chopper today, and I kind of got turned around and forgot where I put my chopper. I threw it at edge of map the other day and just left it there so no one will steal it. But there's no landmarks out here. It's all the same, just trees and hills, and after a while you hit so many of them they all look the same. So right here you can see this demarcation line right here by the shadow and by the flora and fauna on the right, and no flora and fauna on the left, which is what I call the tundra over here. You can actually run out there, but the game will kill you in about 25 seconds. It starts a timer for you and warns you. So what I did is I just went on the map and looked it up, and I just named this hill. It's got an elevation of 349 feet above sea level, so I just call it Hill 349. So I just wanted to show you that edge of map, and we're going to take a look at that flying in a helicopter to kind of get you out of your tunnel vision that you see on YouTube all the time, which is a shame for such a beautiful landscape. And we're going to show you around a little bit, which is one of the reasons I run in this mode. There's this mode, this one here, which helps you see a lot better in a firefight because things are up close. Then you can see, you know, just my head and my back, and then there's another one like this, and I don't mind doing that because you can look at the edge of the picture on each side, and you can see the difference in your field of view, FOV, field of view. So there's sometimes where you really need to zoom in on particular, just like to see if there was AI running on that other hill. I can see them a lot better now if there were. But like right here, it gets a little harder to see in front of you, but you get a wider field of view, and you can see on your peripheral a little bit. But it all depends on what is easier on your eyes to set it to. The demarcation line continues up there. We're about 10 minutes away from restart on the server. It was raining this morning, and I'm on the Solanum server, and we're going to go ahead and since it stopped raining and the sun magically came out, it's good flying weather. You can see more. Not a perfectly sunny day. Not bad. This is the west side of the map, as far as you can go. So you're far away from any bottled water or anything like that, but you can see animals will spawn in up here. There's plenty of firewood, and it's a good place to put bases and a tent or an emergency stash of your best gear. I'm hoping someday in the future, with all these guys that do all this modding and making up missions and placing in new buildings and opening up more enterable buildings, that sooner or later somebody gets the idea of actually expanding the map and not just copying the same buildings, the same old thing, the same old roads, the same old bases all over again. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and I'll talk more about that in a later video, which I'm going to do, called The Future of Gaming, where I think gaming really needs to go, and some missteps they made of boy, when I parked on top of a mountain, I parked on top of a mountain. But where I think it really needs to go. And then this view is going to get better as we go, because now they got the new 34-inch curved screens. And their prices, just like any other computer part, has been dropping since the day they got out. It's like a new car. It loses value as soon as you drive it off the lot. And as soon as they start to get some competition, the prices start to drop down to their reasonable. And I think they started around 1600. They should be down to around half that now. So still got a long ways to go before I would buy one, but they're getting there. So less than 5 minutes to restart. I'll find my little hilltop where I put my, I think it's over to the right here, where I put my Little Bird helicopter down on the flat. Looks familiar. And we'll go flying today for a little while, and I'll try to give you a little bit better picture. Hopefully it'll clear up a little bit more. See you in a few more minutes after restart. Okay, we're up at Devil's Castle. I figured I'd take the time to show you my loot pattern up here and where the loot spawns at, and a little bit on how to tackle this, if you will, or how I do it at least. So just gonna run up here on the edge. There's usually a loot spawn point right here at the top of this wooden ladder on the exterior wall. You have to be careful with these zombies because they will swipe at your legs, and you're pretty far up on the map. You don't want to have a broken leg up here. And although on be real careful on these stairs too, because I have broke my leg on the stairs and died just from a broken leg. It wouldn't even give me time to repair it. So you can get into trouble up here if you're not careful up in the far north country, without meds, without morphine, so on and so forth. I think he's just gonna take a break there. There's some light sticks for you. This is a spawn point here on the open doorway. A spawn point here on the open windowsill that you can reach. And then on most servers there's a spawn point right around these short stone walls. So that leaves you the staircase. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go up in the main tower here. This is 5, 6, 7, and then all these 8, 9, 10, all these landings in here. This room, 11. Then we're going to go up to the very top. 12. There's nothing here right now, but it is a loot spawn point. That's the main gate down there, and I know it's hard because of the tunnel vision to see this. There will be loot on these other rooftops, but you can only reach them, as far as I know, but by helicopter. And in this field down there, it's always worth checking out with all the hay bales. Sometimes there's a helicopter crash or cargo drops down there. So while you have the advantage of height, use it. There's sandbags and a tent and a backpack. Sandbags, tent, backpack, celluloid light sticks. Okay. So we're going to come back down to the tower. You want to make sure, I'm doing this a little bit fast to save time, but you want to make sure that you are very careful at doing this. One slip and you'll take a nosedive, and it's an instant death. And it is near impossible to get all the way back up here in that short amount of time. What I forgot to mention to you in the last video was, upon your character's death, the clock starts ticking. You have about 30 minutes. I won't say exactly. You have about 30 minutes to get to your body, or all your gear and your body is going to disappear. If another player kills you on some servers, they can actually bury your body. So loot spawn point there on the low windowsill. There's nothing there today. So you can lose your gear real quick, which is why I had to make that mad dash yesterday to run up and get there. Now this is something I never figured out in game, and I never asked anybody, and I don't want to. I want to figure it out for myself. This is the score of the song, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Sing Along, No More Christmas in the Near Future. There's supposed to be kind of like an Easter egg that the developers put in. One piano in one house that you can feed that music into, or at least it was supposed to when they first developed this. Short stone walls on some servers are a spawn point. You usually find a backpack or a flashlight here. But it's supposed to be a player piano where you can play music. I never heard of anybody doing it or talking about it in side chat or anything on here. And then you have the main archway coming in. There's loot. Oh, I gotta check and see if I have a shovel. I do already. There's this room, safety, warmth, can unknown, knife. 3 more points outside. There, and then the outhouse. So what I do is, now that we've already looked at about 10-12 known spawn points, which is important that you search slow enough and long enough in these towns to learn which places are spawning loot consistently and which places are not. Because you just can't search 100% of a town, or you'll be in a town for about 6 days trying to get through what might or might not be a spawn point. And it won't take too long for you to master that and figure it out. There's a spawn point down here at the short stone wall on some servers. I didn't see it today. Oh. One of the other benefits of backing up while you're doing it, you can see he kind of dodged me a little bit and I missed him because I was standing still. So once you move and you're in constant motion, then they have to come to you. And if you're backing, you're sort of getting them to run in a straight line where they're more predictable about where they're going. And I found gas cans down here and stuff like that. So we're going to get into what I call skulk mode. Just down low and creeping. You're quiet. So now that we found all the existing spawn points in here that we know of, because the ones that didn't spawn loot, I don't know if that's a spawn point or not. It was before on another server at another time. There are no guarantees. Whoops, wrong button. There are no guarantees from server to server. I did find a tire up here, which is rare, so I know that this admin specifically put a tire here, which I like because it kind of tells me how involved an admin is on a server and how smart they are, how clever they are. And I love clever admin when they really think something through. So you're a long way from food and water up here, so you have to search and take every ounce of food and water you can off these guys so you don't run out. There are animals around here, so I already searched that whole entire place one time. I need to leave, and I have my helicopter in the field down below. You don't want to park a vehicle within 500 meters of where you're going to loot. 300, 500 meters, somewhere around there. Nobody's ever figured out the exact yardage, because loot will not spawn in that town or in an industrial area, because when they originally created the game, I think that they did not want you to loot and have that extra advantage of looting by vehicle, Or you could drive down the Northwest Airstrip and decide, well, I'm going to look in all the hangars right out the window of my car, and I'll be able to loot 10 times faster than I normally do. So to make a little room, I'm going to eat here. I'm going to make a fire. I killed a cow earlier. There are animals up here, so I took advantage of that. And let me see here. I did find a padlock on the first try, which is what I was looking for. It says I only have 3 slots here. 6, 7, 12, 13. Okay. So we're just going to open up our gear, right click on the axe. I should have showed you this in an earlier video. I meant to, but I was getting to the point where I thought, I kind of felt like it was going too slow. I don't need all these logs, I just need one. So I back off that animation real quick. If I don't need them all, I back off, because you can break an axe handle real quick in this game, which is the reason I try to always carry 2. Let the animation play through, and I didn't, because I was trying to look and see if I had an extra axe. It said I created sawn planks. So let me close it and open it again. Yep, they came through. Just took a while to catch up, but sometimes you'll have to redo that animation if you get too much of a hurry. Tree to log to planks, just keep right clicking on it. Once you have your wood pile, just excuse me, right click on your matches. But I'm going to left click on this match. It says I have 5 matches left. Left click on this box, I have 1 match left. So I'm going to use this box. That way I don't accidentally forget how many matches I have and think I have a full box and there's only 1 left. Then we're going to go ahead and open up the backpack. I have room for 4 more beef out front. And I can put away that wood and that wood. And then we're just going to have to, sometimes you have to back up. It'll say cook food. Take your hands off all of your computer and just let the animation play through. Then open up your gear, and there's our cooked meat. So we have plenty of cooked meat. We have 3 slots open here, 2 in the backpack. I have my antibiotics. This car tire I really don't need. We have 1 drink left and 1 water left. 1 soda, 1 water. So you can warm up. The reason I needed to show you this, and then you can relight that same fireplace, it just takes another match. The reason I wanted to do all that was just to do this, to go back up and loot again, because sometimes you're going to have to do this at night, which is the reason I mentioned be very careful about coming down those stairs out of the tower, because when you do that with no night vision and it is pitch black, you actually have to go, you will not be able to see anything. Your entire screen will turn black once you're inside that house or the tower. So you have to put your right shoulder up against the wall and have your character slide down the wall a little bit. Oh, he got me. I'm not bleeding though. And he has a grape soda. So now I got 3 drinks, 6 food. So that was badly needed. But you can see, I'm going to learn, teach myself on this video editing how to do some cool slow motion shots. But you can see when they take a swipe at you, it's almost like they're trying to take a swipe at your thigh bone. Like they're trying to break your leg. And that's why you have to be careful on stairs, because they're well below you, at your legs. And that's where you're most vulnerable. So there's a spawn point down there. I haven't seen anything on the steps on this server yet, but on other servers I have. This is a known spawn point also for a vehicle. depending on how they have it set up, and your helicopter. Usually a little bird helicopter, one of the helicopters. So there is nothing again on that windowsill, nothing again down there. So that tells me that this admin may not be putting anything there. Nothing there. Here's another known one. This guy usually gets stuck here. And admin's not putting anything here at this one. So that's okay. That's fine by me. It's less places I gotta check next time if I have to come back for a padlock. Padlocks are at the ruins. Devil's Castle is the one I usually go to. They can be on some servers, depending on in some versions of the game. Check backpack. Rope. They can be down on the train cars, Electro, Cherno, wherever you see the big flat cars. You can get on top of those flat cars and walk the flat cars, which is sometimes a better way of no loot again up here, which is a better way of getting your loot if you're building a base, because you will break a ton of pickaxes and a ton of axes to the point where you'll really wish you were taking that broken axe handle and beating yourself in the head. I've broken 20 axe handles in a day to where it would make you just sit down and cry. So it's a lot easier to go down to the trains and get what you need, because they have the logs and the stone and sheet metal to make nails and padlocks down there. And I found 5 padlocks in about 4 hours down there. So you can see we have the light sticks, the sandbags, tent, and backpack. So I know the loot hasn't changed. So if you consider all of this loot, all these loot points, let's just say 12, okay? 12 loot points, they all have different gear on them. They're all in a pool. So what's going to happen is when, it's kind of the best way I can describe it. Here's your rope, and then we have a checked backpack down on the bottom. You have to memorize this. It's important. This is how your memory is going to really help you out in game and give you the extra advantage. I try to memorize those because that's what happened on my first day getting my very first padlock, which took me 6 hours. And then I got excited because I got a padlock. They're so rare. So I brought a friend up and I showed him this place called Devil's Castle, and that's where I got my padlock, and I showed him exactly what I did, and he said, "You mean like this one?" His first trip through 5 minutes, he found one. I said, yeah, I was so mad. He was a new guy. I was supposed to be teaching him. He said, and I was trying to explain to him, well, you know, it took me 6 hours, you know, and it was a lot of work. And I really had to, you know, it was a lot of work. I had to work really hard at it. Oh. The heck, swung right through him and it didn't connect for some reason. So anyway, as I explained to the new guy who ended up being one of my friends, he said, "Or you mean like this one over here?" I said, "What do you mean like this one over here?" He found 2, and sure enough, if he didn't find 3 in 15 minutes, I could have killed him. He didn't know that. I was smiling and laughing while we were running around playing Dayz, but I was running behind him thinking, man, I want to hit him with my axe so bad. 3 on his very first try, 15 minutes. Like, this is easy. This is fun. But what happened was I kept searching, and I was just about to leave when I noticed right in here that there was a purple soda, grape soda laying there that was not there before. And that's when I first realized, after going around in circles over and over and over again, that the loot had changed. And if you consider it as a pool, different items, 100 items that they pull out of a pool for Devil's Castle here, every so many minutes, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, or even the entire, until restart, it's like a deck of cards. There's my analogy that I'm looking for. They reshuffle it. You still have the same 52 cards. They're still the same gear. but it just gets reshuffled in about 20 minutes. So if you run through there and you look through all that stuff, it only takes you about 4 minutes. Now you got to find something to do to make yourself productive, to make this whole trip efficient for another 16 minutes. Or however long it takes until it changes. Might be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The only way you'll know is to recheck it and to have that loot memorized, whether it's a Devil's Castle or a Northwest Airfield, the military barracks, and stuff like that. You have to know what has changed. And as soon as you see that first item change, the rest of it's going to change. The cards are reshuffled now on the table, so it's a new deal. And there was even a player that mentioned the other day and reminded us when he mentioned it. Sometimes it'll throw the same loot right back down as if there's 12 spawn points and 12 available different types of loot. So it'll throw the same loot back out, but in different positions. So now the rope would be on the ground and the checked backpack will be somewhere, but it'll still be the same old tired stuff. So one of the tricks they use for that is to take that stuff. So you're taking it out of the spawn pool, even if you run 300 meters or so, or outside Devil's Castle, and you throw it on the ground because you say, I don't need any rope. And since it takes it out of the spawn pool as it's being used, it's more likely to spawn in new stuff. And I've done that before too, where you get really frustrated and let stuff despawn. So I want to be careful that I'm not getting my leg broke dealing with the zombies this much up here. But, and you may worry about them, it's a lot harder at night when it's just pitch black. There's a can unknown. We can nickname that a can of never touch. There, I did it again. I looked without really looking. So those are just a few of the tricks at Devil's Castle in case you need a padlock, because you will need a padlock for your gate. Now there's a flashlight here. So that now, for me, this is a known loot spawn point, top of the stairs. It wasn't before. It was like, could be, could not be. And now there's a checked backpack up here. So now we have two known spawn points that weren't necessarily true before. You go on another server, may not be the same. It'll generally be the same because the people who set this up aren't kind of making, it spawned in there, but that one's still empty. They don't make this up on their own. They're actually downloading modifications, and you download the loot pool and it automatically spawns it for you. So it looks like I'm losing internet connection here. I'll lay down so when I spawn back in, the zombies won't attack me. But I just wanted to give you some tips on how to think about this looting and everything and the reshuffling of the cards, and to figure out what time schedule is it on, because it'll make your looting a lot more efficient. Because this was a 6,000 meter round trip run if I run it on here. So I'll be back in a second. I'm back. Yeah, so now that we've seen the shovel here that wasn't here before, that means, change my speed here, that means the loot pool has rotated, and that's mainly what it does. Because next time, in another 20 minutes, if I timed it, a drink wasn't here before, this room was empty on the first floor. If my memory is correct, there was a checked backpack here. It's gone. And the next item should be a rope. Here's a tent. And I don't have room for the tent, but I will get rid of the music for now. Just would like to I'd drop even cooked meat if I could get another padlock here. and there was nothing up here before. And that's why I check out these rooftops and the field to see what spawned in since last time. And all the items on that roof were gone. Do you remember what they were? Light sticks, sandbags, tent, and I can't even remember what this was. Light sticks, sandbags, tent. I just can't remember what that last, my brain I just can't. But there were 4 items, I know that. So that means the loot has changed. So that, yeah, I just put my shoulder up against the wall the whole time in the dark until you can't go any further. And it's hard to tell if your shoulders are up against the wall. You have to wait for the light to come through the windows. Even with your gamma and your brightness all the way turned up, you take a step to the left, you're going to lose everything. And that slanted piece of wood just trip you up a little bit. And I've actually fell from right here over top of a zombie that I killed. Broke my leg one time. And if you think the run we had the other day was long, this one's twice as long to get up here. And I'll be talking to you about that last episode in a little bit. Let's go along. That's new because there was not anything there before and not anything here before. That's why I wasn't sure if there were spawn points on this server. Now I know one of them is. There was a soda or something here before. There was a rifle. Oh, the rifle's still here. In the same exact place. I'm going to hunker down and take care of him real quick. And search. It's rare for them to have antibiotics or morphine on you. This is still the same right here. It's a tank trap. Then this was empty. So some things changed, some things didn't. So I just wanted to show you the nature of that. Once you understand that it's a computer, so it's programmed. If it's programmed, it has parameters. If it has parameters, therefore it must be predictable. That's my little take on it. If it's predictable, it's like a puzzle and you can figure it out. So you could actually sit here and go through. If I didn't already have a padlock, I could go through there, and to keep my mind busy, it's, you know, maybe if it was at night, I could sit here and time it until I knew whether it was 10, 20 minutes until the loot changed here. That doesn't mean it's going to change somewhere else. So to learn, I'm just always fascinated by figuring out how the game works and everything, the mechanics of it. So that's how you get your food and water later on. I'm going to show you how to craft your own medicine and craft your own splint for a broken leg, so you don't need morphine up here, and you won't have to worry about whether you have antibiotics on you or not. And the value that we talked about before, when I said that the zombies were actually kind of, it's a little bit of a trick. They're your store. They're the ones that gave me all my sodas, except for one or two I found on the ground. They gave me my sodas. They can give me a canned food. Very rarely they will have an empty water bottle or a full water bottle. If it's full, I empty it out. I don't trust anything I get off a zombie. You'll be infected quick. But they can give you a water bottle, matches, antibiotic, or morphine. Those are the rarest items they will give you. But it all depends on the different servers, and it's a lot of that is influenced more and more so as we go along. It has the availability to be more and more so influenced by the admin and how they set up their own servers and what's kind of gameplay and experience they want you to have. So it started raining again today. I was going to show you the map, but I think I'm going to do that on another server that has a lot. I need a perfectly sunny day so you guys can see the most. So I shall catch up to you a little bit later on when I can get to some more stuff here. Setting up a tent, making a stash, killing game, and a little bit of fishing. See you in a bit. It's a quick tip. Running down this dirt road, I'm down near Electro now. Along dirt roads with well-drained soil, or paved roads with well-drained soil, there's the Comfrey Plant. It's right above my cursor now, and it's going to be dang near impossible to see. But I want to walk over to it real slow here, so as it renders in, try to keep my cursor below it. You can see what to look for, and as we get up to it, you'll be able to recognize an outline of this plant. So you got to kind of keep your eye on. I saw it at a distance before the grass rendered in. You can see these at day or night just about equally well, and their leaves are a different color, and here it is right here. No, we happen to be very lucky today on this one area because we're in the shade. But you can see that this plant has a glow to it, like a phosphorescence to it, that's unlike all the other flora and fauna, as they say, grass and trees around it. If you look, you can see it's almost glowing, and you can compare it, and it really helps that we're in the shade today because it sticks out. It usually doesn't stick out this much in sunshine. But if you look at all the different types of greens atop of these grasses and everything, on how it stands out, and there's a lot of different green colors here. Not only is it in the shade, I think the sun just may be hitting it at certain times, and there goes the sun. You can see my shadow. So this sticks out like a sore thumb. As you, if you start to keep your eye out for this, you'll see that you're going to start to learn, how do I want to say this? You're going to train your eyes to pick up on the outline and the shape of this plant day or night, further and further and further and further away, if you learn to look out for it in the first place. But a lot of this game is seeing the unseen and not walking past something. One way you can verify it is it'll come up with a little green gun symbol to show you that you can loot it. It's a lootable item. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick these plants. And that was a small one, so I only got one leaf off of it. Usually you get 2 or 3. And it came up in my menu right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here. My backpack's giving me trouble. Okay. So anyway, just want to do that other thing. So anyway, with the Comfrey plant, once you have it, and it cures infection, so you don't necessarily need to carry antibiotics around with you all the time. You're going to press on the keyboard J for your journal, bring up your journal, but on the front leather cover, you're going to see in the bottom left-hand corner down here, you're going to see the crafting menu. These are the items you can craft on the left-hand side. These are the items that you have on your inventory, and this is the crafting box. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through here, and we're going to go down to where it says Sepsis Bandage right here. You need one bandage and comfrey leaves. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to find one bandage and highlight it. Click on the right to move it. We have 3 bandages. We need to move one of our 3 bandages over to the crafting box. Whoop, and I moved 2. So we have one bandage moved over, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to click, highlight the comfrey leaf, and we're going to move over. Once we have the items needed for the menu of the sepsis bandage, one bandage, one comfrey leaf, one bandage, one comfrey leaf, we're going to click Start Crafting. Let the animation play through, and it's very fast. It'll tell you at the bottom, successfully created a sepsis bandage. Now, how do we know that? We click on G, go back into our gear, and where's it at? But when you click on these bandages, we'll start with our first one right here. We're going to click on that, and it'll say Bandage, Joint Services Standard First Aid Dressing used to stop the bleeding of wounds. And we're going to click on another one, and it'll say Bandage, Joint Services First Aid Dressing used to stop the bleeding of wounds. We're going to pick on this one here, click on it, and it says Sepsis Bandage. And that's the only way that you can tell that it's by the name of it, Sepsis Bandage. It's a Joint Services Standard First Aid Dressing used to stop bleeding of wounds and cure sepsis, which is a blood infection. So that's very important if you're thousands of meters away and you're infected, thousands of meters away from a hospital. So that's really going to help you out. And once you train your eyes to start looking for that, keep on the lookout for it. There's a lot of them around the Northwest, especially along dirt roads and well-drained soil. So you'll become more aware of it. Once you do, you'll be able to spot this from 150 meters out and say, yep, there's one right there at night on a full moon. The other thing I wanted to show you is you'll see that I have planks, duct tape, and string. I specifically saved them for you guys today. So we're going to click on J, craft again, and we're going to go down through here of all the different items you can get. And we're going to stop at wood splint. You need 1 sawn planks, 1 string, 1 duct tape. So we need 1 duct tape. Click on the right, highlight the planks and the string. So duct tape, planks, string. Start crafting, and it says at the bottom, successfully created wooden splint, and it says that twice. And the reason I say it twice, if we click on G and come back into our menu, we made 2 wooden splints for broken bones, so you don't need morphine. That might save you a 6,000 meter crawl if one of these zombies breaks your leg and you need a little bit of morphine. So that's just something to be aware of, that a good part of this game, and it will take you a while to really get this concept down. You'll hear it, you'll say, okay, I don't know what that means, I'm not sure. And I hope that you're not sure, because I'm skeptical of everything someone tells me. It's not a guarantee in this game that you can do anything until I actually do it myself and prove to myself what I can do and what I can't do. How far can you run without water? To me, it's an unknown until you prove it, and then it's a fact. And be skeptical about that, but try it out. and then you'll be able to see if you can make a splint. So that'll cure any broken bone, and you can cure an infection on there. It's a little tricky with the infection because you also have wipes too, and it depends on, and I've had both fail on me. Used a wipe and I'm still infected. Used antibiotics and I'm still infected. Used antibiotics twice and still infected. So a lot of that depends on the game and whether it's glitchy. But a big part of it depends on, is your open wound infected? Because this is a sepsis bandage. It's going to sit on top of that wound. Or has the infection already got into your blood? Usually if you get hit, it'll come up on the bottom of the screen. You have 15 minutes to clean your wound. That usually gives you 15 minutes to use one of these alcohol wipes. But it won't always tell you. It won't always give you that warning. Sometimes you'll just be infected. One of the ways to get infected is to get low on food, low on water, and low on temperature, just like in real life. You're going to catch a cold, you're going to catch a flu, because your body's in a weakened state. You didn't dress warm enough. You didn't keep your body heat up, keep your clothes dry and everything. So that's just a way to start working with the infections. And the more tools like that of knowledge that you have in your toolbox, the easier it's going to be and the more enjoyable the game's actually going to be for you. So I just wanted to give you those 2 quick tips. We'll be going over them again and again. And I'm going over to Scaliste Island because I've had about a dozen bases down here. Let me see something here. I want to take note of this because the water level is very low today. It's not even up to the bottom of my back pockets. That's about the lowest I've seen it. Oh, there it goes. Not quite up to the belt line. That's a nice place. That's down from where I usually cross over. But I'm down here because out of all the places I built bases before, to show you guys the base building, the one place I just absolutely love, if I had to pick 1 out of 10 and just stick to it, has to be Scaliste Island. So I'm going to swim over to the island. Nice sunny day. I want to take a nice long swim. And I'm going to check out the island. And if it's empty and nobody else is building a base there, because this is a player versus player server, they're really lax about it and laid back, and everybody's kind and nice and helpful. But I still want to keep my guard up. I don't want to go on there and start building and find out somebody has a base right beside me, or I stumble across some stashes. And through running today, I did stumble across some surprise stashes that put a smile on my face because they were really clever. One was in an old house that was burnt down, and they actually put them in the bottom section of the house. And that was real shifty and sneaky because it was a place that everybody runs by. Nobody ever goes there. So I didn't bring my fishing pole with me. I figure as long as I'm running down here, I'll get another one. That way I'll have 2. So anyway, just want to show you a couple tricks. I'll get back to you when I'm on Scaliste Island, and I may start the base building over there. Definitely with some stashes. And I need a place to park our helicopter. Oop, he got me there. So I gotta make sure that I use my regular bandage, and I don't need my sepsis bandage yet. So I want to save it. If you get 3 leaves, you can make 3 sepsis bandages. And there we go. So I just want to show you that real quick. See it.